This week we've been talking about the Great Depression. Monday we had our introduction to the Great Depression. Yesterday we talked about the Dust Bowl and the mistake that the farmers made. And today we're going to move into soup kitchens. So if you look carefully at the picture down here at the left, you'll see where it says soup, coffee, and donuts for the unemployed. And at the very top, the most important part of this sign is that it's free. They were giving food to the unemployed people, which were a lot of people during the Great Depression. So we're going to do the 4-quadrant activity, and you tell me what you're thinking when you see each part of the picture. So here's your first part of the picture. Go ahead and answer the question of what do you notice? Here is the next section. Answer the next part of what do you notice? Here's your third section of what do you notice? And here's your fourth section. So you should be answering the question for what do you notice for section 4. All right, so for the big picture, here you have the men at the soup kitchen eating. These are the men eating free soup at the soup kitchen during the Great Depression. And our job for today is to explain the role of soup kitchens during the Great Depression. So you should have this passage from the substitute. Make sure it says soup kitchens at the top. Economic depression, we've kind of talked about when the economy is weak, not making a lot of money, and people lose their jobs. Another word we need to know is poverty, not having enough money to pay for your basic needs. Notice it doesn't say wants. And then soup kitchens, a place that serves free hot meals to hungry people. And then volunteer, a person who gives of their time to help others. So let's look at your passage. So soup kitchens, you should have your name and number at the top. Of course, you're going to fold and glue it when you're done. So during the Great Depression, approximately 12 million Americans, which is about 1 of every 4 people, were unemployed. So we talked about this on Monday. Lots and lots of people unemployed, which means they are without a job. Without a job, people did not have an income to pay the bills or to buy food. People became desperate for food. A nationwide effort was created to feed hungry citizens. Churches and other volunteer organizations opened soup kitchens, and the purpose of a soup kitchen was to help feed those in need. A soup kitchen was any place that served free. Key word for this one is free. Everything there was free. A free hot meal for everybody who was unemployed. So let's talk about why soup. Soup was an inexpensive item to make. So another word to say inexpensive is cheap. Think about soup. It's basically a basic food that's not expensive and water that you season. And it could be made in large batches to serve many people. Soup was also healthy and filling. At some soup kitchens, people received bread with their bowl of soup. Some soup kitchens serve coffee and donuts too. So do they only serve soup? No, but that was the main thing that they served. And why did they serve soup? Because soup was cheap, okay? Sometimes the soup and other supplies for soup kitchens came from the government, which means the government paid for them. Most of the time, the soup kitchens relied on donations. In some communities, citizens donated food from their own gardens to soup kitchens. So I want you to think for this one, think of how we did during World War I with Victory Gardens. I want you to think of that for that one. Soup kitchens were located across the country during the Great Depression. Some could only provide 1 meal a day. So imagine eating 1 meal a day. Others with more resources could serve 3 meals a day. People often stood in line for hours just for a chance to eat a hot meal. In large cities, up to 3,000 people might come to a soup kitchen in one day. Today, soup kitchens are still providing food to those who need it most. Volunteers spend hours preparing and serving food to neighbors as a way to help in their community. So go ahead and fold and glue this. So now you have your passage folded and glued. Now let's look at some pictures. So here you have some unemployed people like these men selling apples just to make money. Here's some families who lost their homes and they moved from city to city to find employment, kind of like we saw the men jumping and sneaking on the trains on Monday. Here is a closer picture that I showed you at the beginning. This was taken in the 1930s. So go ahead and answer this question of what items did the soup kitchens serve? So yes, it's called the soup kitchen, but use your journal to answer this question. What other items did they also serve? Here's another picture of a soup kitchen during the Great Depression. Go ahead and answer this question. What feelings do you think these men had about their warm bowl of soup? And this one actually had bread. So go ahead and answer this question right here. Here are school lunches today. No, we're not doing soup kitchens, but soup and bread was also given to kids at school. Today you have much more than soup and bread. So here's a video of what a soup kitchen looks like today.
When plates come off the line at Goddard Riverside Community Center, they're served to people that have, over the years, become a second family.
Tradition, yeah. It's like the best one in the city. I don't know anything that's like this, that's this big.
The community, everyone comes together, and we give thanks, and it's so warm and beautiful in here.
To make this meal happen, a team of about 300 volunteers get here about 6 in the morning. Why so early? Because every item on the plate starts as raw ingredients and is made from scratch.
The key is to try and get the whole skin off as one piece as you can. So it looks like a little turkey coat. Nice. And then when we're done, we put the turkey skin over the turkey like this, so that when it goes back in the oven, it keeps it moist.
Patsy Yang has volunteered at the lunch for the past 6 years. The morning starts with rows of carrot cutters and lemon squeezers, preparing more than 1,500 meals.
They leave with dessert and seconds if they want. Yeah, you don't go hungry here, especially on Thanksgiving.
Volunteers box more than 500 of the meals delivered to families not able to leave their homes.
I didn't want to cook this year. I didn't want the burden of cooking, but I also wanted to help out. And my daughter, this is her first opportunity with community service.
Servers pass around drinks and bring plates to the table.
True blessing indeed, because
So now you should be able to see what a modern day soup kitchen, like a soup kitchen, would look like today.
When plates
Go ahead and answer this question about what is similar and different between soup kitchens today and soup kitchens in the 1930s. I'll give you time to answer that one. Now you're going to move on to your independent activity. So you're going to get this paper from the substitute, and you've got this picture of this man in the middle. So you're going to use what you know about the Great Depression, use what you know about Hoover, use what you know about Franklin D. Roosevelt, use what you know about the Dust Bowl and now soup kitchens for today, and you're going to complete these 4 boxes. So with his ears, what kind of things do you think this gentleman or this man would hear? Now, don't tell me he would hear dishes. Of course, he would hear that. But think about all these men who are actually at the table together. There's something that they all have in common. What kind of conversations do you think he's hearing at the table? With his hands, what do you think he is feeling right now? Look at him. Look at his clothes. What do you think he's feeling? With his mouth, he is blank. You fill in the box right here. And with his heart, he feels deep down as a man who obviously is unemployed and probably can't provide for his family. How do you think he feels? And then you're going to answer this final question of how did soup kitchens affect the lives of Americans during the Great Depression? And then after this, you're going to make sure you fold and glue your passage into your journal and then continue working on the social studies board.